All right, everyone, this is your 6.2 extra practice, okay? This page that you're seeing right now is not in your packet, all right? These are just the notes that you may want to jot on the side, the top of your page, the back of your packet, that you're going to need to complete these questions, okay? So these were all in our notes from the past two lessons, that consecutive angles are supplementary. Remember, that means they equal 180, okay? Little disclaimer here, I do not have my normal stylus for my iPad, so you're going to have to bear with me as I try to write this stuff with my finger, okay? Opposite angles are congruent, opposite sides are congruent, and the diagonals bisect, that should say each other, okay, which means that they cut them in half, okay? For number one, you have angle R with a question mark, and angle T being labeled as 135 degrees. Well, angle R and angle T are opposite each other, which means they're congruent. So angle R is equal to 135 degrees. But for number two, we have angle C and angle D. Those are consecutive, which means they have to add up to 180. Okay, so I'm going to call angle D plus 70. You're going to subtract 70 on both sides. 70s cancel, and angle D is equal to 110 degrees. For number three, again, angle V and angle U are consecutive. So angle V plus 80 degrees needs to equal 180. You're going to subtract 80 on both sides. 80s cancel. Angle V is equal to 100 degrees. For number four, angle L and angle J are opposite angles. Opposite angles are congruent, which means that angle L is equal to 98 degrees. Number five, we have opposite sides. Side SP is going to be congruent to RQ, which means if these two sides are congruent, that SP must equal 23. Okay. For number six, you have the same scenario. FC is congruent to ED, which means that side FC must equal 12.6. For number seven, we have RT is equal to 19.8. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to fit this. 19.8. They want to find the entire length of the line RP. Well, the diagonals bisect each other, so that means RT and TP are the same. So that means they're both going to be 19.8. Sorry, I'm trying to squeeze it in. So we get 19.8 plus 19.8, and that's going to give us 39.6, and that equals the length RP. Number 8. Okay, we have YXV labeled as 52 degrees. You have this angle X, and then we have a 60. Well, these two angles together with this 60 are consecutive. So the question mark I'm going to label as X plus 52 plus 60 needs to equal 180. Okay? Well, x plus 52 plus 60 is 112, which needs to equal 180. Minus 112 on both sides. One-twelves cancel. X equals 180 minus 112 is 68 degrees. Okay, here we have Km. The entire line of Km is equal to 23.4. And what they want us to find is Ym, this line right here. So really all we have to do for Ym is take 23.4 and divide it by 2. And Ym equals 23.4 divided by 2 is 11.7. For number 10, very similar to the one from the last page, okay? We have x, which is our question mark, our unknown, plus 62 plus 55 needs to equal 180. 62 and 55 makes 117. And then I'm going to subtract that 117 on both sides. And x equals 180 minus 117, 63 degrees. All right. Solve for x. Each figure is a parallelogram. So we have 6 questions left. We're going to solve for x. And when I look at number 11, I notice right away that these are consecutive angles. So 11x minus 10 plus 80 needs to equal 180. 11x, 80 minus 10 makes 70, which equals 180. Subtract 70 on both sides, and 11x equals 110. Divide both sides by 11, and x equals 10. Okay. Now for this one though, we have opposite sides, and opposite sides are congruent. So we're going to set them equal to each other. 2x plus 15 equals x plus 15. I'm going to minus x on both sides, and we're left with x plus 15 equals 15. Minus 15 on both sides, and x equals 0. For number 13, I see consecutive angles, okay, which means they're going to equal 180. I'm going to add them together. 9x and 6x makes 15x. 15 and 15 makes 30. And that's going to equal 180. Minus 30 on both sides. 15x equals 150. And divide by 15 on both sides, and x equals 10. Same for number 14. Combine your 5 and your 35, okay? So 14x and 35 and 5 makes 40 equals 180. Minus 40 on both sides, and 14x equals 140. Divide both sides by 14, and x equals 10. The last two. We have opposite sides being congruent, set them equal to each other. X plus 1 equals 7. And on your right-hand side, we have consecutive angles. So 130 and 50 makes 180x. And since they're supplementary, they actually equal 180. These are both 1 steps for number 15. Subtract 1 on both sides, and x equals 6. For number 16, divide both sides by 180, and anything divided by itself is 1. Okay, again, sorry for my terrible handwriting, or more terrible than usual. I did not have my stylus with me at home, but hopefully we got through it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to submit your work.